In this video, we're going to be diving back into the age of dinosaurs. We're going to be reviving the much loved 1.8 and giving it some more love that it deserves. It is the best Minecraft version ever. You guys have requested it. I am going to deliver it painstakingly, step by step, update all of the code that we have been creating in the last videos. Now, this video will also work if you have no previous code. If you haven't checked any of my previous tutorials, this video is going to teach you how to think. Of course, I'll show you specifically how to patch a lot of bugs, issues in the code that we've made in the last videos. But if you have no code, enjoy regardless. You will learn a lot from this video anyways. So when coding for a specific, for example, older Minecraft release, there is two approaches that I choose. Number one, the easiest one is just to import the specific version in your POM file. What you want to do, just import 1.8.8 and have no code ready. This is really good because it will not confuse you, and chances are it is also going to work upstream on later Minecraft release because Bukkit generally provides great backwards compatibility, although that is not always the case. I'm not going to be covering that approach because we cover how to code in this entire tutorial series, and I'm going to show you how to fix the code that we've created in just a minute. However, please note that you can't import paper if you want to start from scratch or if you want to change your existing code, because the problem with paper, if I look for Paper Maven on Google, I'm greeted with this link to its GitHub, and here is the repository. They do not store 1.8 anymore. In fact, if I visit the URL right here, which is going to look like this one, and I open up the IO, because it is stored under IO, papermc paper. So I look for IO folder, and then I look for papermc right here, and I open this up, and I open a paper right here, and then I open a paper API. You can see that they only go down to 1.17. So to open 1.8, we have to Google for Spigot Maven. Now, it is pretty easy. They provide us with everything you need to be having in your POM file. So I went ahead, I copied, pasted the repository right here, and then I simply copied the dependency right here, changed 1.20 to 1.8, and then I, of course, need to comment this out to prevent any plugin conflicts. Now, IntelliJ by default doesn't have that option to show all of the errors automatically. So to go ahead and enable this, go to IDE, go to settings, find compiler. If you can't see it, just type build and then open up compiler and then toggle build project automatically. This will help you show any syntax or import issues that may arise really quickly. Now, if you still can't see them, as I can't, right click the entire project, go to Maven, and hit reload project. If that doesn't help, right click, go to rebuild module. And if you've done that, you can see we have a lot of things to fix because Minecraft 1.8 simply does not support many of the features. Let me open up the main class. Let me start fixing it. So going down below, we can see that the task is canceled, does not exist on Minecraft 1.8. What I found after hours and hours of painstakingly debugging is that Bukkit has a is currently running method which we can use instead, and this one is also going to be working on 1.19. So I can go ahead and I can change that, and of course we have to reverse it, delete the exclamation mark to only make sure to cancel tasks that are running. That is fixed. Moving on to the next class is the command class. We have a cow command right here that is malfunctioning because we use something called persistent data container. Unfortunately, there isn't a way to persistently store data on that old Minecraft version. What I do recommend, if you need to, check out the video about settings, and you can just use a custom file on your disk inside your data folder where you simply store entity get unique ID when you run the command, and then you reassign it, and then you use it as we would check for persistent data container. Now, if your plugin wants to support this feature only if it's loaded on 1.19, you can try surrounding it with try and catch, put a throwable right here. Now be careful because that one will also malfunction when there's any other issue. So what we can change it to is so-called linkage error, which will catch both missing method and missing class errors, and all the other errors will be thrown and rendered properly. However, this one will be just silent, and here you can simply have an alternative code for old Minecraft versions. Now we're going to be getting rid of this red thing in just a moment. I'm just going to leave it right here for you guys to show you how I deal with it later on. Now, if you don't care about the latest Minecraft release and you just want to support 1.8, or you just want to have your own custom approach, you can of course get rid of this one, because the way that I'm going to fix this import is at the end of this video, I'll re-add 1.19 on top of 1.8 so that this will not show as error inside your build. However, we have built in the try and catch block so that the code will not malfunction on 1.8. Next is the custom item command right here. And again, we can use the same approach, just like this one. Next is the display entity command. Unfortunately, this whole command is not going to work because the display entity only is available, I believe, starting Minecraft 1.19.4. So what I can do, I can go to cow canoon, and then here where I have a display entity, I'll simply put the try and catch block around this one. Next one is a GUI command. Right here, what we can see that the material name has changed and it says sunflower, which the name is different on 1.8. And to find the old name, what I like to use is Minecraft IDs list. You can go to the first website on Google in grahamedgecomp.com, and here you can just look for sunflower. Here you can see that the name actually was used to call double plant. And the reason for this one is that the same name could hold multiple items back in the days before 1.13 came out, thanks to the usage of data values. These, unfortunately or fortunately, have been deleted permanently on Minecraft starting 1.13, so that we can't use them now. So here I just went ahead and typed in double plant. If you of course want to support both Minecraft releases, what you can do is you can have a try and catch block. First, you can look for the new name, and then if it doesn't exist, you can simply retrieve the old name like this one, and then I can place it right here. Now, if you want to work with data values, the new item stack should also provide a constructor, the one that is the longest one, with a byte where you can put the data values, such that I can go ahead, I can provide the amount to 1, the damage, there is no damage to this tool, and then I can just use a byte, cast it to a byte, and then I can provide 5, for example. I also have to cast this one to short, I believe, and now it's going to hopefully retrieve a peony, if I'm not mistaken. However, we're not going to be working with data values for now. Next one is the locale command. I believe that there isn't such a thing as get locale right here. However, sometimes spigot surprises us. We can call spigot and we can call get locale from that, and they'll pretty much do the trick. Next one, there isn't any components in that Minecraft release, although I do believe that you can use the Adventure API on Minecraft 1.8, although you'd have to shade it. Check out the video that I did about APIs and libraries on how to do that inside your jar when you ship it. So it's going to contain the entire copy of the Adventure library. However, for now, I can just do the good old try and catch trick, and then I can just either warn the user that they need to be using, I don't know which version started to ship Adventure library natively, or you can simply send the same message just the old way. Same goes for the key argument. Now, moving on to the entity listener, it will ask if the event get_hand is the main hand. The problem is there is no such thing as offhand. The left hand did not exist on Minecraft 1.8. So if you wanted to support both Minecraft releases, you can just try and catch this one, and then we can just ignore this because 1.8 will always properly fire only for the main hand. And then scrolling down, we can see we're dealing with persistent data containers right here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give you like the full rewrite. I suggested you to see the video about settings, right? So you'd have to go there, implement your own custom storage mechanism, compare the unique IDEs. So for now, I'm just going to do a try and catch this entire block. And then if there is another problem right here, I'll just ignore it. That means that 1.8 is simply not going to support this feature. Now, laser pointer, unfortunately, is not going to work because a crucial feature called ray trace result is simply not available. You could try working this around by calling player get target block. However, I don't think that it works the same way. It can produce funky results. What I do recommend is the way you do this, you just call new hash set empty, and then the distance is the same. So this is the way potentially that you could work it out. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. However, for now, what I can do is I can just comment this entire section out, just like this one. And then of course we can also comment this out, or you can simply put a try and catch block because we already dealt with it in the other entity listener class. Next one is the board class. Right here, the criteria do not exist. So what we can do, we can just open up criterias, and then we can type criterias.health this way. And then the chat color, you can't use hex colors. Obviously, they're only supported on Micro 1.16. So here what we can do, we can just call the red color from the spigot package. And actually, when it comes to registering objectives, there isn't such a thing as a constructor supporting all three arguments. So we have to get rid of this one. And then we have to type in objective health, I believe, and then just set the display name to the actual thing which we want to display. Next up is the crawl class. This one is going to be, again, disappointment because there is no such animation in 1.8. I believe it only exists starting 1.14. So what we can do, we can go ahead right here, and then we can find the command that deals with it, and we can just surround it with try and catch. And next up is custom recipe right here. I believe that, yeah, there is a bunch of missing classes. And when it comes to creating a new recipe, instead of using a namespace key, you either don't put anything. Yeah, that's right. You don't put anything right here. So we can just delete this. Now, this is going to be a bit tricky because if you want to support both, then what I have to do, what I have to recommend is just using this, right? The good old recipe. I think I covered this. So that one is going to be basically the new one, and then you're going to catch an exemption, and the old one is going to be just parsing the item stack. I'm going to save you time. I don't want to make this video 3 hours long, so I'll just comment this entire class. Actually, I don't have to comment it. What I can do, I can just look for custom recipe, and I can comment it out here. Next up are toast notifications. This requires Minecraft 1.12 because advancements did not exist back then. So what I can do is I can just go to the toast command and I can apply the same approach as we did previously, surrounded with nice try and catch. There we go. Next up is settings. If I open up settings, I can see that the comments do not exist before 1.16, I believe. Here, you can either resort to try and catch, or you can simply comment this out, whatever you wish to. If you do resort to try and catch, please note that all of these comments that you save on 1.16 plus will be deleted when you load the same config file back on 1.8. Next up is the butterfly task. That one actually does not support spawning particles this way. I don't think that there is an easy way how to spawn a particle on 1.8. However, there is ways around packets. There's ways provided by third-party libraries, which will be touched upon by the end of this video. So for now, all I have to do is just comment out these options right here. And I believe same goes for the laser pointer because it also deals with spawning particles. So right here, if you only want to support 1.8, obviously you'd have to delete all the code that is in red. However, I want to support both micro releases. So what I'm going to do is I'll just uncomment paper and I'll comment this back on. Now, you are going to be wanting to periodically, before you publish the plugin live, switch it, check everything, what changed, add new try and catch blocks, and then obviously check your code on both micro versions. This takes time. That's why more and more developers say, I don't have time for this. I'm not going to support it. However, if you want to cover most of your users, then this is a good practice. One thing that I found before I tried to test the plugin is that Spigot deleted the getLocale method on 1.19. So what I recommend you do is you just use the modern approach. You surround it with try and catch, and then you can catch the exception on 1.8. And then you're just going to be needing to use reflection. So you get the class, and then you get the method called spigot, and then inside of which you get the method called getLocale. I'm not going to teach you reflection because that's basic Java. It has nothing to do with Minecraft. You can just Google how to get a method and then invoke the method and then get another method within the spigot and then invoke that one as well to get the locale on 1.8. Now, when first loading it, it still fails to load our command called locale command because apparently these components are being loaded even though we surround it with try and catch. So to bypass this, you can either put it in a separate class, say locale executor. Maybe that's not the best name, but whatever. And then you can basically copy the code inside two static methods, one for the locale argument, the other one for the key argument, and then you can just call them right here. This will effectively nuke Java's ability to load it and fixing the issue. Now, the plugin has loaded. However, there is one more bug to fix. It says failed to register events for the crow listener because this event does not exist. So right here inside your crow listener, this one doesn't exist. So again, what you can do, you can just create a custom class for this legacy or modern listener. You can make the class implement a listener, paste it right there, and then when you're creating a new constructor of this class, you can call bukkit.getPluginManager register events for the new modern listener, and then the plugin is going to be the cow canoon instance, just like this one. I don't think you need to surround it with try and catch. However, this one will properly register events for this entire class, and only this class is not going to be registered. Now, when I joined the game, another problem, the entire crawling thing does not want to work. We don't even have to have the crow listener much at all because the crawl feature, as I explained, does not exist. So what I can do right here, I can just go to the crow listener. I can find the micro version from the package, and now you can see it points out that this one is 1.8 release 3. So I can copy this and I can say if the micro version contains 1.8, I'm not going to do anything, otherwise I'll register it. Obviously, feel free to change this and edit this to 1.9, 1.12, 1.19, 20, 21, etc., etc. Obviously, this should make sense to you guys and you should be good to go. Now, same goes for the crawl command. Actually, we have to use the same logic. So if Minecraft does not contain, maybe I can just reverse it. And then instead of having try and catch, I can just go with, say, 1.8 right here. If it doesn't contain, I'll register the command. However, please be sure to also include 1.9. However, this is outside of the scope of this video because that should be common sense. You should be able to figure it out after you've seen me, struggle. People also ask me about NMS. NMS is pretty straightforward on these old Minecraft versions because there is no mappings. Let me just duplicate this chicken class for 1.8.8. Let me unblock everything that we have right here. There we go. Let me go inside my pom.xml file. And here, what we can do, we can just copy the example of a system path dependency. I'm not going to cover dependencies. There is a video on this free micro tutorial series called APIs, which you can check it out to learn more about this system. And here I'll just call 1.8.8. Group ID can be anything really, it's just spigot, and then artifact ID can be spigot server version 1.8.8, and then this one needs to point out to my Academy folder where the paperclip is the actual server jar. Let me just do that right now. And it looks like on Windows, these slashes needs to be the other direction. There we go. Once you have it, again, you need to right click, go to Maven, hit reload project, or maybe just click this arrow right here or button. And now inside right here, you can just delete all of these imports that don't work. And you can see, first of all, the craft world is now we 1.8 instead of 1.20, and that's about it. Everything else needs to be changed. So the chicken is actually called entity chicken. Every entity is I believe is prefixed by entity. And then super right here is going to be different. If I open up entity chicken, I'm going to see that we don't need any entity types there. So it's actually a bit easier. We can just delete that. And then this one can stay the same. Set position row, I believe is just called set position. There we go. And then goal selector. So we can actually see that this method is just called A. If I open it, and then Pathfinder meal attack, I have no idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up entity zombie class right here, open it, and then look at the meal attack, copy its name and the constructor. They typically are very stable across versions. They don't change. There we go. And then look at player should be, there we go, should be the same. Player is called entity player or entity human. And then the other one is called Pathfinder. No, it's actually called Pathfinder random look around. There we go. And then the target selector, I also believe that it's just called A. And the nearest attackable target should be nearest attackable target. There we go. And then just entity player like this one. And then again, this problem is that it does not exist there. So as a quick workaround, we can just set the entity metadata. However, this is going to be deleted when you reload the server or you restart it. So you'd have to be using some custom file storage where you put the chickens. If you go inside this and you call get unique ID, so you have to be storing the unique ID somewhere else on a database using your own handler, because Bukkit does not support this for 1.8. And then this persist, I think it's just called this persistent, and then get handle. I thing is just called add entity. Now the attribute map, it doesn't have it, but I found we can override init attributes. And here I can simply copy this one from entity monster. So here init attributes, I can retain the super, and I can just copy paste this right here. Hopefully it's gonna work. Let me see that in a moment. And then these sounds, they do not have a class. So here we'd have to go with just string names. And I think if you look inside NMS, I covered how to find mappings in the NMS video. You'll be able to figure it out how it is being called. So that one is for the ambient sound, that one is for the hurt sound, and that one is obviously for the death sound. So I'm just going to stay with the zombie names. The chicken is gonna make zombie sounds, who cares? Also make sure that the class name is correct, 1.8.8 should be. And then if you encounter all of these import issues and you want to retain 1.19 compatibility, you should just move the paper on top of it and then just re-import the entire thing. Now you should have access to both 1.8 imports, just NMS part, and then the paper should take over all the other imports. Also, don't forget to delete the name spaced key because that one is only available on 1.13 and upwards. And the biggest issue with custom NMS entities on 1.8 is that you have to register them. Otherwise, you are going to hear that the entity is around, but I can't see that. So for that reason, I simply Googled how to register entities for 1.8. I came up with this genius code, obviously not me, but someone else did the trick. It's called register entity. So what I did, I just created a custom class right here called entity register underscore 1.8, pasted the code, documented it a little bit. Again, this is not even my documentation. I just inspired myself from someone who understands it more deeply. That one basically enters a register list somewhere, and then it registers the entity to exist within the actual server because it needs to, otherwise you won't be able to see that. So this one is a static method, and I called the static method from my main, where is that, Kaukanun class inside right here. This one was done in the cut of this video, so if you don't have the minor version, just pause it, implement it this way. It's very easy. All we're gonna do, get the micro version like we did previously, and then extract the number right here using integer, parse and split it underscore, and then the first one should be the number, and then I simply edited the code behind the scenes to be a little bit more elegant. So that one only runs on 1.14 and up, and then that one only runs on 1.8 and then 1.20. Actually, it will not run on 1.20 because we haven't done anything to make it run. It's only going to run on 1.8 for now. So this is how you run it. You need to put the name of it. This needs to be custom. So Deadly Chicken is the custom name. Entity ID. We need to Google Minecraft entity IDs. First list gave the right clue. So if I Googled chicken, you can see right here, it says 93. So I typed 93 right here. The NMS class is entity chicken from NMS package, and then custom class is obviously our own class. Okay guys, finally in the game, if I type psycho, you can see, there we go, chicken is following me. Actually turns out that the chicken cannot really damage me, but at this point, I just gave up. It's honestly a waste of my time to cover 1.8 to that level of detail. I've shown you how I think about it. I think right now you can just use Google, use your own brain, and you should be able to figure the rest. Now your plugin should in theory work for 1.8 up to 1.20. Of course, you will encounter more issues as you try and test all the other features. This video is mostly how I think, because I think that is number one thing, preventing people from doing this correctly. Instead of me trying to do everything and spoon feed you, I just want to show you how to fish. I don't want to give you one fish. I want to teach you how to make a good plugin yourself. If you enjoyed this video, check out Project Orient, which is a full course including a special compatibility library which we have developed to automatically deal with all of these frustrations so that your plugins will automatically work on 1.7, even 1.8, 1.9, 10, 11, 12, 13, up to always the latest Minecraft version. Plus, you have me there twice per week on Zoom live coaching calls alongside 7 weeks of content. I believe we have over 40 hours of pre-recorded footage for you guys, including all the source code. And if for whatever reason you're not happy with it, we can just refund you because we have a full 30-day money-back guarantee. That's it for me. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It really helps me out. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Take care.